Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade and today I am doing my most anticipated releases for 2018, which is really exciting because I totally didn't plan on doing it. I was just looking up some releases because I was wondering about them and I'm like, oh my god, I could do a video of this. So I have a couple books, actually a lot to talk about. It's kind of I didn't even get that far looking at the list. I'm like, this is too long. I gotta do a video. Maybe I'll do a part 2 actually then. We'll see. But, so I'm not sure on my editing software how to like put in pictures. So we're gonna see if I can do that. And if I can figure that out, there'll be pictures of the ones that have pictures for them. But there won't be if I can't figure it out or if like they don't actually have book covers yet. So I'm sorry if I can't. I hope I can. I'll try. My first book I have for a 2018 release is My Plain Jane, which is a second book to My Lady Jane. It's not with the same characters. I will actually be reading the description to you guys. Let me just get my laptop over here. I had it all up on my phone. I'm like, oh wait, I record on my phone. Can't do that. So, My Plain Jane is about a different woman who's famous in history. So, it's about, you may think you know the story. After a miserable childhood, penniless orphan Jane Eyre embarks on a new life as a governess at Thornfield Hall. There, she meets one dark, brooding Mr. Rochester. Despite their significant age gap and his uneven temper, they fall in love, and she marries him. Or does she? Now this is where the twist is going to come in. Prepare for an adventure of Gothic proportions, in which all is not as it seems. A certain gentleman is hiding more than his skeletons in his closet, and one orphan Jane Eyre, aspiring author Charlotte Borinet, and supernatural investigator Alexander Blackwood are about to be drawn together in the most epic ghost hunt this side of Wuthering Heights. Very intriguing. I can't wait. I'm going to die when that comes out. If you haven't read My Lady Jane, please do. It's really great. So the next book I have is actually The Hazelwood, which Haley in Bookland talked about. She read the arc and she loved it. So now I really want to read it. And it's such a gorgeous cover, you guys. Like, I can't even believe it. Let's get that. It's by Melissa Albert. I don't think I've ever read her books before. But 17-year-old Alice and her mother have spent most of Alice's life on the road, always a step ahead of the uncanny bad luck biting at their heels. But when Alice's grandmother, the reclusive author of a cult classic book of pitch dark fairy tales, dies alone on her estate, the Hazelwood, Alice learns how bad her luck can really get. Her mother is stolen away by a figure who claims to be from the hinterland, the cruel supernatural world where her grandmother's stories are set. Alice's only lead is the message her mother left behind: stay away from the Hazelwood. Alice has long stayed clear of her grandmother's cultish fans, but now she has no choice but to ally with classmate Ellery Finch, a hinterland superfan who may have his own reasons for wanting to help her. To retrieve her mother, Alice must venture first to Hazelwood, then to the world where her grandmother's tales began, and where she might find out how her own story went so wrong. Doesn't that sound so good? And if you guys can see the book cover, which I might do, it's so gorgeous. It's like one of the prettiest book covers ever. I love it. It's so great. These books all sound so good. So the next one is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Petticoats and Piracy, which is the second book to The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. They don't have a cover for it yet, and I actually haven't read this book yet, but I know that I'm gonna love it because everyone loves it, and the second book is coming out for this. So if you guys have been waiting for that, eventually it'll be coming out. Probably later in the year though, if there's not a cover for it yet. But I know a lot of people will be totally excited for that. The next one I have is Everless. Let me find it. Okay. Which is an untitled series so far, so they haven't named the series yet. But in the kingdom of Septra, time is currency, extracted from blood, bound to iron, and consumed to add time to one's own lifespan. The rich aristocracy, I was gonna say it wrong, I had to think for a sec. The rich aristocracy, like the Girlings, tax the poor to the hilt, extending their own life by centuries. So you take their life away from them. That's horrible! No one resents the Girlings more than Jules Ember. A decade ago, she and her father were servants at Everless, the Girlings' estate, until a fateful accident forced them to flee in the dead of night. When Jules discovers that her father is dying, she knows she must return to Everless to earn more time for him before she loses him forever. So, like, when you work, you get paid in more life. And I'm guessing slaves get their life taken away or something like that. I don't know how they get life, but I'm sure, or maybe there's just a way to give people longer lives. I feel like you'd have to steal it, though. Who knows? But going back to Everless brings more danger and temptation than Jules could have ever have imagined. Soon she's caught in a tangle of violent secrets that finds her own heart torn between two people she thought she'd never see again. Her decisions have the power to change her fate, and the fate of time itself. So it looks like there's going to be a love triangle in that one, so if you're not into love stories, you might not be into that one. But I am, so I'm into it. This is crooked. There. You probably won't even see a difference. The next book I have is Heart of Iron, which sounds so good. This one's a sci-fi one, so if you're not into sci-fi, you won't like it. But it's, like, the most interesting sci-fi book I think I've, like, read for the description of. So it's 17-year-old Anna is a scoundrel by nature and an outlaw by nature. Don't like the use of nature, by the way, in that sentence twice. It's weird, but the rest of it makes up for it. Found as a child drifting through space with a sentient android called DO9, Anna was saved by a fearsome space captain and the grizzled crew she now calls family. But DO9, one of the last remaining illegal metals, has been glitching, and Anna will stop at nothing to find a way to fix him. Anna's desperate effort to save DO9 leads her on a quest to steal the coordinates to a lost ship that could offer all the answers. But at the last moment, a spoiled Ironblood boy beats Anna to her prize. He has his own reasons for taking the coordinates, and he doesn't care who he'll sacrifice to keep them. When everything goes wrong, she and the Ironblood end up as fugitives on the run. Now their entire kingdom is after them, and the coordinates, and not everyone wants them captured alive. What they find in a lost corner of the universe will change all their lives and unearth dangerous secrets. But when a darkness from Anna's past returns, she must face an impossible choice. Does she protect the kingdom that wants her dead, or save the metal boy she loves? It sounds really cool, though, because this one seems like it'll actually take place in space, and I think that would be pretty fun to read about. The next one I have is Reign of the Fallen. Oh, and by the way, the next Three Dark Crowns book is supposed to come out next year, but that one's untitled, and I don't think it has, like, a description yet either, so. But Reign of the Fallen, this is one of the most creative, like, descriptions I've ever read. So, let's get into this. And by the way, tell me if you like this video, because I am just kind of reading you descriptions, and I'm looking down a lot, so I'm sorry. But I'm excited about these books, and I hope you guys are too. So, Odessa is one of Karya's master necromancers, catering to the kingdom's ruling dead. Whenever a noble dies, it's Odysseus' job to raise them by retrieving their souls from a dreamy and dangerous shadowland called the Deadlands. But there is a cost at being raised. The dead must remain shrouded, or risk transforming into a zombie-like monster known as Shades. If even a hint of flesh is exposed, the grotesque transformation will begin. The dramatic uptick in Shade attack raises suspicion and fears among Odysseus' necromancer community. Soon, a crushing loss of one of their own reveals a disturbing conspiracy. Someone is intentionally creating shades by tearing shrouds from the dead and training them to attack. Odysseus is faced with the terrifying question: what if her necromancer's magic is the weapon that brings Carthia to its knees? So I just think that's really cool, because it's talking about necromancers and all that kind of stuff, which I think is just really awesome. I haven't read a book about that at all. I hate the cover though. The cover is kind of ugly. It's like a bejeweled skull with a crown on its head, and the colors just don't work well. But it sounds really interesting. Ooh, hiccup. Okay. The next one is the second book to the Scythe series. And I love that book so much. If you guys haven't read it, you need to. I actually kind of can't describe what happens because that would be giving away the first book. But if you guys haven't read Scythe, you need to. It's an amazing book. 5 stars. Absolutely. Alright, let's continue on though. By the way, the Fallen Kingdoms book number 6 is coming out. That's called The Immortal Reign, so if you're into that. The second Flame in the Mist book is also coming out, which is called Smoke in the Sun. Alright, and then the next book I'm interested in is actually contemporary, which is kind of rare for me. My cat is crawling up my window. Interesting. It's called You're Gonna Miss Me When I'm Gone. And it's about 18-year-old twins, Adrina and Tova, have little in common besides their ambitious nature. Viola prodigy Adrina yearns to become a soloist and convince her music teacher he wants her the same way she wants him. Oh, naughty. Overreacher Tova awaits acceptance to Johns Hopkins, the first step to her path towards med school and a career as a surgeon. If you guys know Johns Hopkins Hospital, if you guys have ever read The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, you'll have heard of it. They were mean back in the long time ago. They were one of the only hospitals who would treat black people during, you know, racism in America, but they would also do experiments on them and do things they shouldn't, so, you know. But one thing could wreck their carefully planned futures. A genetic test for Huntington's, a rare degenerative disease that slowly steals control of the body and mind. It's turned their Israeli mother into a near stranger and fractured the sisters' bonds in ways they'll never admit. When Tova finds comfort in their Jewish religion, Adrina rebels against its rules. When the results come in, one test is negative and the other is positive. The opposite outcomes push them farther apart as they wrestle with guilt, betrayal, and an unexpected thrill of first love. Can they repair their relationship? Is it even worth saving? And this is it's from Cat. I can't say that word. Debut author Rachel Lynn Solom. Yeah. I think it's Rachel Lynn, I don't know. But then, okay, I'm really excited for this next book, okay? It's the second book called The Defiant to the Valiant series. Which, if you guys remember, it's about the female gladiator in Roman times who gets kidnapped and then forced to become a female gladiator for Caesar. That book's amazing. Love it. Absolutely need to read it. The second one's coming out. I'm gonna die. It's beautiful. I'm gonna die. Okay. And I just have 2 more. I'm really excited for this next one. It's called Honor Among Thieves, which is also a sci-fi book. So it seems like a lot of sci-fi books are going to be coming out. But petty criminal Zara Cole has a painful past that has made her stronger than most, which is why she's chosen life in New Detroit instead of moving with her family to Mars. In her eyes, living inside a dome isn't much better than a prison cell. Still, when Zara commits a crime that has her running scared, jail might be exactly where she's headed. Instead, Zara is recruited into the Honors, an elite team of humans selected by the Levian, a race of sentient alien ships, to explore the outer reaches of the universe as their passengers. That sounds really creepy. Sentient alien ships. Okay. Zara seizes the chance to flee Earth's dangers, but when she meets Nadim, the alien ships she's assigned, Zara starts to feel for home for the first time. But nothing could have prepared her for the dark, ominous truths that lurk behind the alluring glitter of the starlight. Really creepy sounding. Okay, I'm sorry. But really creepy sounding. And then my last book is The Ash Princess, which is a kind of a stereotypical fantasy book. but with its own little twist we got here. Theodosia was 6 when her country was invaded and her mother, the Queen of Flame and Fury, was murdered before her eyes. 10 years later, Theo has learned to survive under the relentless abuse of the Kaiser and his court as the ridiculed Ash Princess. Pretending to be empty-headed and naive when she's not enduring brutal whippings, she's pushed down all her thoughts but one: keep the Kaiser happy and he will keep you safe. When the Kaiser forces her to execute her last hope of rescue, Theo cannot keep her feelings and memories pushed down any longer. She vows revenge, throwing herself into a plot to seduce and murder the Kaiser's warrior son, with the help of a group of magically gifted and volatile rebels. But Theo doesn't expect to develop feelings for the prince, or for her rebel allies to challenge her friendship with the one person who's been kind to her throughout the last hopeless decade, her heart sister, Cress. Cornered into impossible choices, and unable to trust even those who are on her side, Theo will have to decide how far she's willing to go to save her people, and how much of herself she's willing to sacrifice to become queen. So yeah, that one's gonna be just interesting. I think it's gonna be really good, actually. I'm really excited for it. So those are all I have planned for today. I might keep looking and write another list, so I might have a part 2 for this video. Let me know what you're most excited for, definitely, and maybe some I didn't mention that you think will be really good. But leave those comments down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye!